Hi everyone, it is Elena J. Engel, and last week I put out a video of less popular alternatives to the new names in the US Top 100s list for 2016, and this week I am putting out a video of the less popular alternatives to the new names for the girl list in the US in 2016. And I will go ahead and link the boy video that I made last week in the description box below, and I'll go ahead and get started. So there were 6 new names in the top 100 girl names in the US this last year, which means 6 had to leave, and it's a really fascinating list of names that left. The names are: Ashley went from 85 to 101, Alexis went from 87 to 119, Annabelle went from 92 to 104, Alyssa went from 93 to 120, Isabel went from 94 to 103, and Alexandra went from 100 to 110. And I think this list is fascinating because, number one, there's so many dated names on this list, so it's like, it almost feels like a whole bunch of people realized all at the same time, like, oh, these are not fresh names anymore. And also, 5 out of 6 of these names start with an A, which is very, very interesting to me. I have talked about these names before in the other series I made when I came out with less popular alternatives to those particular names, and I will link those in the description box below, as well as other people's videos that are on YouTube that have talked about these names about the 2016 list. And now for the first name that is new to the top 100 for 2016, it is Adeline. Adeline is a German form of Adele, which means noble. It went from 135 to 63, which is a pretty big jump. I am not shocked at all to see it rise so quickly. There are several names that are similar that are rising in popularity, particularly just lots and lots of spellings of Adeline and Adeline and Addison. Addison is extremely popular on its own, and I actually did include Adeline as a less popular alternative to Addison when I put out that series last year. So the first thing I want to do is come up with another Addison alternative. And the Addison alternative I have is ENDELLION. ENDELLION is a Cornish name that means fire soul. I definitely got this idea from my friend Amelia. She suggested this as a less popular alternative to Addison. Oh, my other 2 were Adelaide and Adrian for Addison. This is the name of a daughter of a Welsh ancient king, and the British Prime Minister David Cameron used it as one of his daughter's middle names. Her name is Florence Rose ENDELLION Cameron. I think ENDELLION is beautiful, and it definitely has that long, strong, almost masculine sound, similar to Addison, and that strong D sound in the middle. So now on to my less popular alternatives to Adeline. My first one is ADELAIDA. ADELAIDA is the Spanish and Hungarian form of Adelaide, which means noble, kind. This is the name of a city in California, and I definitely associate this with Kara from The Art of Naming. She has a relative named Adelaida, and that was, I think, the first place I might have seen this name. Also, with the ADELIDA spelling, this is the name of a song by Johnny Cash, which is super, super fun. I think this name is absolutely gorgeous, very exotic sounding, and of course works well as a less popular alternative to Adelaide because it is so similar, and I do think Adelaide could be a nickname for Adelaida. My next Adeline alternative I have is POMELINE. This is the French form of a Latin name meaning fruit or apple, which is really sweet. Princess Caroline of Hanover, aka Princess of Monaco, had a daughter named Charlotte Mariel POMELINE. And there is a character from the comic Gotham Academy named POMELINE as well. This name is extremely rare otherwise. I think Pom would be a super adorable nickname option for POMELINE, and this name could also be pronounced POMELINE as well. However, if you like Adeline, you might be more into the POMELINE pronunciation. And the last alternative I have for Adeline is ADELHEID. ADELHEID is the original German form of Adelaide, which again means noble, kind. And in the beloved book and movie Heidi, this is Heidi's full name, and Heidi is a nickname for Adelheid. There was a Russian princess from the 1700s named Adelheid, and there were a few German film actresses named Adelheid, but it is extremely rare in the US otherwise. I do once again really love the literary tie with this name. The next name that is new to the top 100 for 2016 is Luna. Luna jumped from 110 to 77, another pretty big jump. Again, I'm not at all surprised to see this name rising in popularity. It's a name I've been seeing talked about in name-loving communities for several years now, and this is the Latin word for moon, which is really sweet. This left the top 1,000 names in 1921 and re-entered in 2003. So there was several decades where it was not being used much at all in the US. But I definitely think people are loving this name because of the Harry Potter association. Luna Lovegood is one of the main characters in Harry Potter, and she's a wonderful character in my personal opinion. Singer John Legend and his wife supermodel Christy Teigen have a daughter named Luna Simone. This name is also associated with the anime and manga Sailor Moon, where there is a character named Luna in that. There's an actor named Diego Luna, a My Little Pony named Luna. There is a character in Yu-Gi-Oh! Called Luna, a character in Bear in the Big Blue House called Luna, and yeah, there are just tons and tons of book and film and show associations with this name, and so that leaves potential for lots of different bedroom themes for your little My Luna. First Luna alternative I have is LUELLA. This is a feminine form of Lewis, meaning famous battle. This was a top 1,000 girl name through 1955, but has not been in the top 1,000 since then. I think this name is so adorable. It's what I see brought up online quite a bit, but isn't used very much in real life. There's an English fashion designer named Luella Bartley, and this is occasionally used as a celebrity baby name, but otherwise it is extremely rare, and there are lots of really sweet nickname options like Lou, Lulu, Ellie, Ella, and I just think this is absolutely adorable. My next Luna alternative I have is Nuray. Nuray is a Turkish name meaning bright moon. There are a few Turkish celebrities with this name, but it is extremely rare otherwise. I just think this name has a beautiful exotic sound, and of course Luna and Nuray have very similar meanings in that ooh sound at the beginning of the name. And my last Luna alternative I have is JUNA. This is a name because it's so simple. It's just 4 letters long, ending in an A. It has roots in many languages, including Slavic, meaning young, Japanese, meaning scarlet, and Chinese, meaning graceful chrysanthemum. There is an alternative band called JUNA, and there is a RuneScape video game character called JUNA, but it is otherwise very rare. And something else you can consider if you do like the sound of this name but are unsure about it, you could spell it D-J-U-N-A and give it that much more punch to its unusual sound. And of course, I think JUNA would work great as a Luna alternative because they have a super similar sound. The next new name to the top 100 girl names in the US is Kinsley. Kinsley went from 113 to 86. It is an English name that means King's Meadow. Kinsley was pretty much unheard of until 2005 when it entered the top 1,000, and there is a musician named Billy Kingsley from the UK in a town in Kansas, but otherwise before 2005, like I said, it was really rare, pretty much unheard of, and did definitely start as a male surname name. All of these alternatives I have for Kinsley are similar sounding K names but are extremely uncommon. The first I have is Kalindi. Kalindi is a Sanskrit name meaning sun. There is a Kalindi river in India, but it is otherwise very rare. I think this name is absolutely beautiful. Definitely has a very similar sound, like I mentioned earlier, Kalindi, Kinsley, and there are lots of really sweet nickname options such as Callie, Lynn, Lindy, etc. My next Kinsley alternative I have is Cassiani. Cassiani is a Greek name meaning cinnamon. Very cool meaning. There was a 7th century Byzantine abbess known for singing hymns, which is absolutely beautiful, called Cassiani. And my friend Amelia that I mention all the time, she's Everything Baby Names on YouTube. She has a friend with this name as well. Once again, Cassiani and Kinsley, they have that K beginning sound, E ending sound, and the S and the N in the middle. I can definitely see someone who likes the sound of Kinsley liking the name Cassie. And my last alternative I have for Kinsley is KENSA. KENSA is a Cornish name meaning first. This is a name that is very new to me. I was first introduced to it after watching a baby name video on British Baby Names channel on YouTube, where she mentioned this in her Cornish names video. I think this name is absolutely stunning. It could work really well to honor a Kenneth or a Ken, etc. And obviously KENSA, Kinsley, very similar sounds there, and I would definitely love to see this name discovered. The next name that's new to the top 100 girl names is Eliana. Eliana is a Hebrew name that means God is answered, and it went from 102 to 93. This first entered the top 1,000 girl names in the 1980s. It went from not being in the top 1,000 names, it jumped all the way up to 451. And then it started going down and started climbing again in the late 90s. This name has been used for a few celebrity babies, and there is an actress named Eliana Jones, and there is a Brazilian TV hostess who goes by just Eliana. I'm not surprised to see this name being popular because I see it mentioned so often, and I do meet little Elianas a lot, but I am surprised about how it got popular. I think there must be some sort of pop culture association with this name out there that I have not discovered that is causing this name to become so well known, but I think it is absolutely stunning, and I love that it is being used so much. My first Eliana alternative I have is ELIORA. This is a Hebrew name that means God is light. Beautiful, beautiful meaning. There's an Israeli gymnast with this name, but it's extremely rare otherwise. This is a name that I see brought up quite a bit in name-loving communities, but I definitely don't see it used much in real life. This obviously has a really similar sound to Eliana, and just like a few of the other names I mentioned, this has loads of nickname options such as Laura, Ellie, or even the tomboyish Leo. My next Eliana alternative I have is Eliana. This is a Hebrew name meaning God's people. There is a character in a 2007 Malaysian film named Eliana, but it is extremely rare, and this is actually the feminine form of a male biblical name, Eliam, and I just think this name is really, really, really beautiful. It would be a very, very unexpected alternative to Eliana, and of course someone who likes Eliana might like Eliama for that super similar sound. And my last Eliana alternative I have is ELIANA. ELIANA is a Greek name that means from Troy. This first entered the top 1,000 girl names in 1986 and is currently ranked at 849, but has never been a top 500 girl name before. There are a few minor celebs with this name, and it is more commonly spelled ILEANA, though I do prefer this original spelling on the screen. I just think this name is absolutely stunning, and of course that sound is super similar to Eliana, and so someone who loves Eliana but wants something a little less popular could definitely consider this. The next name that entered the top 100 girl names is one that's quite special to me, and that is Elena. This is the Hispanic and Portuguese form of Helen, which means shining light. This name went from 106 to 94, and I'm not surprised to see this enter the top 100 girl names because I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago I saw a list someone had made of all the spellings of names in the US combined, and even though there were 0 spellings of Elena, I think maybe even in the top 150 in the US, when you combined all the spellings of Elena, it made it a top 50 girl name, and that was a few years ago, like I mentioned. My name is, of course, Elena with the ALENA spelling, but my whole life people have told me they love my name, and so I'm glad that people are actually using it. This has always been a top 1,000 girl name in the US, and right now it is definitely associated with Elena of Avalor, who is a Disney princess right now. I love that there's a princess named Elena. This is definitely associated with the Vampire Diaries as well, where one of the main characters is named Elena. There's a character in Law and Order named Elena, and there's an opera called Elena as well. There are loads and loads of minor athletes and actresses with this name as well. My first Elena alternative I have is Helena. Helena is a form of Helen for many European countries, and again it means shining light. This has always been a top 1,000 girl name in the US. It is now ranked at 518, though it was most popular in the early 1900s, where it reached all the way at 270. This is definitely strongly associated with actress Helena Bonham Carter. I think that's a really great association. There is a really cool song by My Chemical Romance called Helena. There are many actresses with this name, including the one I mentioned earlier, plus actresses Helena Matson and Helena Christensen. This is a Shakespearean name, a Harry Potter name, and it is a name that is used internationally very much. I think this is a gorgeous name. Of course, someone who likes Elena might like Helena for the similar sound, and I definitely think this is a name that works well in many, many countries, which is a huge plus. The next Elena alternative I have is YELENA. This is a Russian form of Helen, which again means shining light. This can also be spelled with a J instead of a Y. This is the name of the Black Widow in the Marvel comics. Her name is Yelena Belova, and this is a common Russian name, but is extremely rare in the US, and I would definitely love to see this name discovered and used more. And my last Elena alternative I have is Morena. This is a Spanish name that means brunette. And this is a name that I have loved for years as a brunette and as someone with a very similar name to this. And I think that Maury would be a super adorable nickname option. But I think that a lot of people could definitely like this name because there is a gorgeous actress that is rising in popularity named Morena Baccarin. And she's in several popular TV shows right now. And yeah, so I think it always helps to see a rare name used on someone so that it's easier to picture. And she's just absolutely stunning. And the last girl's name that entered the top 100 in 2016 is Willow. This went from 112 to 96. It is the name of an English tree that possibly comes from the Dutch word meaning revolve. This first entered the top 1,000 girl names in 1998. People associate this with nature. They associate it with the film called Willow. Unfortunately, I'm not crazy about this name because I think of Willow Smith, and she's kind of wild. Willow Smith is the daughter of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. As well as it's very associated with Wiccan culture, which it could be a good association for some people. It's not particularly for me. A cool association with this is Grandmother Willow from Pocahontas, as well as there's a character from Buffy the Vampire Slayer with this name. I actually like this name a little bit more in a boy because of that O ending sound. My first Willow alternative I have is Willa. This is a German name meaning will or desire. This was the top 1,000 girl name through 1962. It just re-entered in 2010 and is now ranked at 463 and rising. I think it's wonderful that this name is being used. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my personal all-time favorite girl names, and it's very possible that I could name one of my own children Willa in the future. There is an American Girl doll with this name. They have this new series of dolls called Willy Wishers, and her name was Willa. There are lots and lots of gorgeous rising actresses with this name, including Willa Holland, Willa Ford, and Willa Fitzgerald, who's from the show Scream Queens. There is a Stephen King short story called Willa, and of course, I think a lot of people, when they think Willa, they think Willa Cather, who is the name of an American author from the early 1900s. Obviously, someone who likes Willow might like Willa because it has a super similar sound. My next Willa alternative I have is Yarrow. Yarrow is the name of a type of daisy in English, and it possibly comes from the Dutch word meaning yellow. Yarrow is this beautiful teeny little yellow plant, and this name is super rare, and the only time I've ever seen it is in a children's book before, but because of that two-syllable ending in the O sound and it being a nature name, I definitely think someone who likes Willow should consider Yarrow. And my last Willow alternative I have is LILO. This is a Hawaiian name meaning lone and can also be used as a nickname for Lieselot, which is a German name. And this is definitely strongly associated with the adorable Disney film Lilo and Stitch. And there is a really cute song called He Mele no Lilo in that I absolutely love. I play it for my kids all the time. This has a similar sound to Willow, Lilo, and because of the Grandmother Willow association from Pocahontas, they both have a Disney tie as well. Let me know what your favorites were for these alternatives and any others that you love for these names, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!